How long you been a Christian for, Mark?
40 years.
Yep, so everything's okay, no obvious like curses or things hindering or harassing or blocking life in general?
In general, okay. But while a guy from Melbourne came down, Andrew, was staying with us, he was working here, and even Jono had sent, my son had sent from time to time to get rid of some of the records. I had quite a big record and CD collection, and I had got rid of some previously. I'd taken a lot to the tip shop in the past, but I still started collecting them again.
How many?
What would I have out there? Be hundreds, in the hundreds.
Hundreds records?
Hundreds of records and maybe 200 or 300 of CDs.
Yeah, right, so...
Lots.
All old rock and roll stuff.
Well, various rock and roll, jazz, classical, the whole lot.
Yep. And then what, Andrew told you to...
Andrew came out to my shed where they're all located, and he said, "Oh, I think you should get rid of all those." Straight to the point he was. And I looked and I said, "Oh, yeah, I suppose I could get rid of those." And I didn't really think about it too much, but I think next day or a couple of days I started reflecting on it and I thought, yeah, there's probably, since I don't even listen to them, why have I got them? You know, if I don't listen to them, why are they there? So, and it sort of...
Valuable that some would...
Oh yeah, a couple, $300 or $400, some of them.
Yeah.
But I sort of thought, it's like a bit of an idol. It's came into my head that maybe it's a little idol that there, you know, I don't listen to them or look at them, but they're a little idol that don't want to get rid of them, sort of thing. So when I thought that, I thought, yeah, it's time to start getting rid of them. So I proceeded to cut up the records so they couldn't be played, and cut up the CDs so you couldn't play them. And then while you're cutting up the records, you cut through the cover so the cover's destroyed as well. And I started doing that, and then I started getting a bit of a voice box problem. I started to swell.
After you came to our house and...
It was probably started by then.
Yeah.
Came to your house. Did you talk about Todd White
John,
then?
Before
John Todd.
John Todd, sorry, Todd White.
It's been going on before that for a couple
Yeah,
of
no,
years.
I'd had it before.
Oh yeah, right. When you started.
Cutting them up, yeah.
Yep, right. But really it became extreme after.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't go away. It was just going on for a few weeks. I thought that
It had been going on a couple of weeks before.
it's not coronavirus. I thought, should I get tested? You know, you have all those doubts. It's not a typical coronavirus symptom, and I didn't have fever or temperature or anything else, cough. But it was unexplainable. Why would I get a voice? And it started swelling, actually. It swelled up quite a bit and was uncomfortable. And after I come to your place and you talked about, is it Todd?
John Todd.
John Todd. It suddenly twigged that, I'm cutting these things off, things out, and I'm getting an attack.
Because you
Attack
sing
from
in
the devil, yeah.
You sing in a church choir, don't you?
I don't sing, I play guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, we have led the worship, but I'm not the primary singer. We lead worship and play guitar. Have for many years done that. Music's been a big part of my life for a long time.
But to you it was obvious where it was coming from.
Yeah.
Yep.
As soon as I started cutting these things up and getting rid of them, that's when the symptoms came, and they had no, as I said, no explanation why. Why would they get a swollen voice box out of nowhere? Anyway, so started cutting them up in earnest. I thought, that's it, I'm getting rid of the lot. So within a few days, I'd cut the whole lot up, basically. So the control was broken. Then I texted you, Peter, I remember saying,
Yeah.
feel like a naughty boy. That's getting towards the end, you know. I feel like a naughty boy cutting all these records up. And the voice is saying, don't do that, what are you doing that for? And that just convinced me, you know, it's just a demonic stuff. And you happened to be walking past, didn't you, that day?
Well, first I texted you back and said it's a demon. If they're telling you that, you need to renounce it and tell it to leave. And,
Yeah, I did that, but as well. But
you said you coughed up something
I
when you
coughed,
done it
yeah.
yourself. A bit of self-deliverance, cough one up.
I coughed one cough, yeah.
Yep.
And then you happened to be walking past.
Yeah.
And so did we text each other? Probably did. And I said, "Oh, you're just walking down." I saw you walking down the street.
Yeah, I was
you
on the
texted me.
walk.
So I thought I'd just go walk down and say hello. So I walked down there. Coming back up, I denounced it again, repented of it, and prayed a little prayer, and another couple of coughs, and a phlegmy one this time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which is unusual for me to have like a phlegmy cough. And that, basically after that, the whole thing went down and started to improve
Yeah. So
to where it's gone.
Yeah. So you actually felt them come out. You felt the change, or
Yeah, I started to feel a bit of freedom and lightness from when I started, but after that it was just sort of a knowledge and a freedom that was it. They had no control anymore.
yeah. So you were surprised that even though you hadn't played them for 20, 30 years,
Hadn't played 'em hard
they
at
still
all.
actually had
Yeah.
it. And-
Surprised that they had that control, even though
Yeah.
you'd even play them.
Yeah. You just had to totally come out of agreement with them for the change to take place, and
Yep.
but even when you were cutting them up, you still and not commanding these things out.
They still,
They
Have a
still
go
were
at
in
you.
there, yeah, until you actually command them out.
yeah, tell them to get out.
Yeah, so what would you say to anyone that's got, any Christian that's got old rock and roll records or CDs?
I'd
Well,
say get rid of them, cut them up, destroy them however you can. Instead of just throwing them in the tip, I'd cut them up so no one else can play them, because you don't want them affecting anyone else either. So the best thing to do is destroy them, whatever way you have. Cutting them up with a pair of like shears I had, with a pair of metal shears, just cutting the record all the way through to the middle. CDs easy to cut up, you just cut them up and they'll never be able to play. Nothing will be able to be played anymore. And I just gradually put them into the bin and they're off to the tip where they belong, and they'll never be heard of again.
Yeah, good.
And renounced.
Yeah.
I think it was important that you came out of
Yeah,
agreement.
you've got to come out of agreement.
to
Yeah, that's the main thing,
That's-
coming out of agreement with them and renouncing and
know why you're doing it.
shut the doors, the legal rights, even though you weren't playing them, just because
Still
they
have
were on
kept
your
you.
property.
Yeah.
They had legal right to own you, and they were living in you, and who knows what they were doing. I know you're a strong Christian, so
Yep.
they didn't have much access to bring destruction and torment and trouble, but there are Christians out there that aren't as strong as you, and
Well, Rosemary said she's noticed a difference.
Yeah, because I felt like, because I've been praying for him a bit, because I felt like he'd sit in the chair and I'll go to sleep a lot. And I just thought, I just think he's too tired too often, sort of
Sleepy,
thing.
making
And
me sleepy.
I just felt he was going to sleep,
Sleep in
And
the Lord.
and so I'd actually been praying for him. I'd been on fasting and praying for him as I go. And then this sort of happened. And then after that, he's been more alert. Like,
yeah, right.
He's just been generally more alert.
So there was like a spirit of slumber come
I
from
felt like that, yeah. That's
Yeah.
what I'd been praying about, but I didn't know why or...
affecting him physically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be one, and who knows what the other things were doing.
Yeah,
But
bringing in others. Yeah.
when you can notice a big change like that, not that it mightn't seem to be a big change, but any change is a bonus in the kingdom of God. Any move forward
Yeah.
is a great thing. And
I sit on a council of 13 people that take orders only from the Rothschild Tribunal in London, which they claim they take their orders directly from Lucifer.
I was the manager of Zodiac Productions. which Zodiac Productions, its name's been changed since then, I'm not even sure what they call it now, but it's the largest music conglomerate in the world. It owns RCA Records, Columbia Records, Motown Records, owns almost all the concert booking agencies in the United States. And that's not even the name of the company that owns it. The name of the company that owns it is Brenner Enterprises, and Brenner Enterprises is owned by Chase Manhattan. Chase Manhattan's owned by Standard Oil, and Standard Oil is owned by the Lords of London. You can track it all back. You kind of get the idea after a while. But I was the managing president of Zodiac Productions. It's one of my jobs as being one of these 13 people. Thus, I got to know many of the people who produce music and sing the music and play the music that you play. Now, one of the closest friends that I got during that time that I obtained was a man named David Crosby. Crosby, Still, Nash & Young. I saw David the day before Christmas last year, talked with him. I got him away from this witch that he had with him. He told her to go shopping. We were in West Hollywood, and I was witnessing around to people I knew. We went off in this store, and we started talking. I said, David, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. I said, I already know the answers, but I've been gone for 5 years. I'd like to know if certain things are still the way they were when I left. I said, now I have to explain some of this when I'm done. You're not going to understand it all unless you know something about music. I said, do they still take the master to the temple room? Dave said, yeah. I said, do they still have the coven conjure demons into the master? He said, of course. I said, now, I got to know something. What's the main reason for rock music? He said, come on, Lance, you know what the reason is. I said, please, David, I don't want to guess. Tell me what the main reason is. He says, the same as when you were in, so that we can play spells on people that we couldn't cast spells upon. I'll explain what that means in a minute. I said, okay, one last thing. I've been hearing that you must be an initiated witch now to get a record contract. He said, that's right. He says, many of us that weren't total witches have to be witches now in order to produce music. I said, thank you. The master is a tape about as big as the top of this podium that looks like an overgrown 8-track that the album is cut on and is placed in a machine that produces and presses the records and the 8-tracks and cassettes that you buy. After it's been recorded, it's taken in. This is why a master's cut months in advance before it's released. On the full moon, it's taken in to a temple room about the size of this auditorium that is in every one of the major music companies, behind locked doors up in the executive offices. And it's placed on an altar, setting in the north of the room, and a pentagram engraved in the floor. And 13 hand-chosen witches and wizards and a coven come in and conjure a principality or a power up, usually Regia or something like that, and order him to tell the demons under him to follow every record and every tape coming off of that master. As I tell many Christian parents, you can go home and count your kids' records, probably yours too, and count how many demons at least are there. If that's too hard for you to believe, I'm sorry. That's why they do it. Now listen to me. This is why rock music's addicting. Have you ever seen kids that got rid of their music? They go around like this. They can't wait to find a rock station somewhere and they sneak off just like getting a cigarette or a fix because it's addicting. That's why they can't give it up. The rest of the conversation was this. You can't cast a spell on a Christian, but you can get a Christian to cast a spell on themselves. If you give the permission for the spell to work, being a Christian won't block it. And rock music is not just a song. It is supernatural music that which is carefully designed by their spirit guides or familiar spirits in the form of spells. Now, although the devil's music's power is the music and God's music is the words, much of the songs are written in what we call witch language. To give you kind of an idea, many of you talk on the CB, unless you know what a smoky is, and a 10-4, and a front door and back door and rocking chair and these type of things, you don't know what you're talking about. Same with witches. When you're in the first or second level, you have to learn over 2,000 words that said by anybody else means something totally different than when you say them. Elton John has said he's never written a song or sung a song that wasn't in witch language. Now I want to show you something. See how many kids in here will be honest and adults. How many remember and have heard at least several times a song called Hotel California? Somebody tell me what it meant. Quickly, somebody tell me what it meant. Huh? That's pretty close. But from the words, what did it mean? Well, that's more of a guess. See, most people can't tell you. That's why when people do drugs and they listen to songs in which language, they get some of the meaning. But most of the time, they can't tell you. Stop and think how many songs are out there that you really like, and you don't have any idea what the person was talking about. Beyond the Yellow Brick Road? How about The Destroyer by Kiss? Can anybody tell me what it's about? Kiss said in it, kids, kill your parents. They're talking about Helter Skelter. Beatles sung Helter Skelter in which language? Nobody knew what it meant. Manson did because he belongs to the process. Helter Skelter is a several thousand-year-old word. Most of the music is either about Helter Skelter or a place called the Night Winds, which is what Hotel California is about, and different doctrines of witchcraft.
You listen to him, your parents let you listen to him, and they have no idea. Kiss openly bragged how they were gaining control of people through their music because the people played their music. They told how they didn't form their own group. Their church, because they were ordained ministers of the Satanist church, placed them together. And that's how most of the music is done. David Crosby, when him and Crosby, Still, Nash & Young produced the record Two-Way Street, they ordered the principality of Medici to order demons of rebellion to go into the record, and everybody that heard it would be rebellious against law and order and government. And it was one of the reasons for the great upheaval in the 60s was that one album, and they take open credit for it.
I have personally talked with Johnny Todd on the basis of Jack Chick's recommendation. Having known Johnny Todd now for more than 4 years, and my having known him for some 6 months, I believe that Johnny Todd is a genuinely converted man, saved by the grace of God out of the depths of Satanism,